Hi, I'm Mike Phillips, President and CEO of the Scripps Howard Foundation. Since 1953, our Scripps Howard Awards have celebrated the very best journalism from across the nation. This year, we are awarding $180,000 in prize money for outstanding work done during 2014. Judges had a difficult time naming winners and finalists, but their work is done. And here to announce the results are Lionel Bienvenu and Molly Hendrickson from Scripps television station KMGH in Denver. They will introduce up to 2 finalists and then the winner in each category.
Thank you very much, Mike. And now for the winners and finalists of the 2014 Scripps Howard Awards in the category for editorial writing. The finalists are Callie Milner from the San Francisco Chronicle, whose editorials about the sex trafficking industry brought a groundswell of support for new state laws, and Tony Messenger and Kevin Horgan from the St. Louis Post-Dispatch for Lessons from Ferguson, for offering a pathway to reform and healing following the fatal shooting of an African-American teenager by a white police officer. And the winner of the Walker Stone Award for editorial writing and $10,000 is Kathleen Kingsbury of the Boston Globe for Service Not Included. Her solutions-oriented series addressed the nationwide rise in income equality by exposing abuse of workers in the restaurant industry.
In the category for commentary, finalists are James Gill of The Advocate in Baton Rouge for columns about Louisiana's vanishing coast and standing up to big oil, and Andrea Levy for addressing current events and hot topics in her opinion art that appeared regularly online on Cleveland.com and in The Plain Dealer. Now, the winner of the Scripps Howard Award for commentary and $10,000 is Stephen Henderson of the Detroit Free Press for giving a voice to citizens disgusted with crumbling schools and chronic crime and calling elected officials to accountability. And now we move to the category for human interest storytelling. The finalists are Scott Pelley, Robert G. Anderson, Warren Lustig, Aaron Weiss, and Patrick Lee of CBS News for 60 Minutes. The shooting at Chardron High. That's the story of a teacher and a coach who became a reluctant hero twice. And Jessica Lipscomb of the Naples Daily News for Little Man in the Pursuit of Happiness, the story of a child diagnosed with terminal cancer. But the winner of the Ernie Pyle Award for Human Interest Storytelling and $10,000 is David Abel of the Boston Globe for The Richards Family, a 2-part narrative about overcoming physical challenges and living with grief following the Boston Marathon bombings. In the category for breaking news, finalists are the Daily Herald from Everett, Washington for coverage of a devastating mudslide that crushed a rural neighborhood near Oso and killed 43 people, and CBS News for Live from Cuba, Scott Pelley's on-the-street reporting after the surprising announcement of reestablished relations within the United States. The winner of the Scripps Howard Award for breaking news and $10,000 is the St. Louis Post-Dispatch for the shooting of Michael Brown, 24/7 coverage following the fatal shooting of an African-American teenager by a Ferguson, Missouri police officer.
In the environmental reporting category, the finalists are Al Shaw and Brian Jacobs from ProPublica and Bob Marshall from The Lens for Losing Ground, a year-long investigation into Louisiana's rapidly disappearing coastline. Finalists also include the Center for Public Integrity staffers Kristen Lombardi, David Heath, Jim Morris, and Chris Zubak-Skis for Exposed, Decades of Denial on Poisons. That was an analysis and online archive of previously confidential oil and chemical industry documents. And the winners of the Edward J. Meeman Award for Environmental Reporting and $10,000 are Paul Rogers and Lisa M. Krieger of the San Jose Mercury News for California's Historic Drought, Enterprise reporting on the politics, the science, and the history behind the state's disastrous dry spell.
In the category that honors distinguished service to the First Amendment, there is just one finalist. Ziva Bronstetter and Carrie Aspinwall of the Tulsa World are recognized for fatal flaws. Their work combated government secrecy surrounding Oklahoma's execution of death row inmates by focusing on the case of Clayton Lockett. The winner of the Edward Willis Scripps First Amendment Award and $10,000 is Carol Rosenberg of the Miami Herald. For more than a decade, she has overcome gag orders, censorship, and hostility to penetrate the culture of secrecy surrounding Guantanamo, the most expensive prison on earth.
And now the photojournalism category. The finalists are Robert Cohen of the St. Louis Post-Dispatch for a diverse portfolio that showcased daily life, economic disparity, and months of protests in Ferguson, Missouri. And Renee C. Beyer of the Sacramento Bee for photo essays that documented extreme poverty on 4 continents and sensitized local residents to inequities close to home. And now the winner of the Scripps Howard Award for Photojournalism and $10,000 is Daniel Berahulak. Daniel, congratulations. The New York Times, he chronicled the excruciating arc of Ebola's deadly spread across West Africa.
In the category that honors business and economics reporting, the finalists are Paul Keel from ProPublica and Chris Arnold from NPR for Unforgiven, The Long Life of Debt, an in-depth look at the relentless tactics lenders and collectors use to pursue consumer debt in America. And Allison Fitzgerald and Jared Bennett of the Center for Public Integrity for Florida's foreclosure crisis, an examination of the state's aggressive judicial foreclosure system that often ignores homeowners' rights. The winners of the William Brewster Stiles Award for Business and Economics Reporting and $10,000 are Rita Price and Ben Southerly for the Columbus Dispatch for Home Care Crisis, a 2.5-year examination of the fraud, poverty-level wages, and poor quality care that have become hallmarks of one of Ohio's fastest-growing industries.
And now in the category for community journalism, finalists include the Post-Star in Glens Falls, New York for Heroin Hits Home, extensive coverage of escalating addiction and a call to address the epidemic, and the Pacific Northwest Islander in Spokane, Washington for State of Mind, a series by Jacob Jones, Deanna Penn, Heidi Groover, and Daniel Walters that exposed a regional crisis in mental health treatment that has led to death and unnecessary confinement. And the winners of the Scripps Howard Award for Community Journalism and $10,000 are Rob Kuznia, Rebecca Kimmich, and Frank Serassi from the Daily Breeze in Torrance, California for Centinela, Manipulation, Intimidation, and Corruption. Their coverage of malfeasance at a local school district led to firings, proposed state legislation, and criminal investigations.
In the category that honors in-depth coverage by a radio station or network, the finalists are Madeline Barron, Sasha Aslanian, Mike Edgerly, and Chris Worthington from Minnesota Public Radio for Betrayed by Silence. Despite claims of national leadership in preventing clergy sex abuse, the investigation showed the Archdiocese of St. Paul in Minneapolis was actually orchestrating a massive cover-up that continued into 2014. Other finalists in this category are Brian Reed, Jake Bernstein, Alex Bloomberg, and Ira Glass of WBEZ, Chicago's This American Life. Their report, The Secret Recordings of Carmen Segarra, offered a rare glimpse into one of the nation's most powerful institutions, the Federal Reserve Bank of New York. Winner of the Jack R. Howard Award for in-depth radio coverage and $10,000 is Chicago Public Media's podcast Serial. The documentary turned international phenomenon is recognized for Season 1, 12 episodes about the trial of Adnan Syed, who was convicted of murdering his ex-girlfriend in 2000.
And now in the television cable category that honors excellence in local in-depth coverage, the finalists are Trevor Keller, Gordon Ray, Kate Sweeney, and Jack Walsh of Public Broadcasting Atlanta for A Tale of Two Murals, a documentary about the city's controversial public art debate. Other finalists in this category are Lee Zurich, John Turpinseed, Tom Wright, and Manuel Torres of WVUE-TV and NOLA.com, the Times-Picayune, New Orleans, for Louisiana Purchased. It was a 1-year investigation into the state's questionable campaign finance system, and it changed 5 state laws, launched 2 FBI investigations, and forced politicians to return improperly collected taxpayers' dollars. But the winners of the Jack R. Howard Award for local in-depth coverage and $10,000 are Vicki Wynn and Kevin Nias of KNTV San Jose, California for Inside Cisco, exposing North America's food sheds. Their undercover investigation of the largest food distributor in North America identified unsanitary storage units across the U.S. and Canada, which forced Cisco to change its distribution system and pay a $19.4 million penalty.
In the television cable category that honors excellence in national and international in-depth coverage, Al Jazeera America is a finalist for Fault Lines, Chasing Bail, an examination of the nation's bail bond system that showed unequal administration of justice. Other finalists in this category are Scott Pelley, Henry Schuster, Rachel Kuhn Morehouse, Nicole Young, Warren Lustig, and Matt Richman of CBS News for 60 Minutes, The Islamic State, a report from Iraq and Syria on the rise of ISIS and life under ISIS rule. Winners of the Jack R. Howard Award for the national or international in-depth coverage and $10,000 are Holly Williams and the CBS News team for Holy War, early coverage of the emergence of ISIS in Syria and northern Iraq that included interviews from the front lines with those who were fighting and those who were fleeing.
And now, in the category for journalistic excellence and digital innovation, finalists are Anthony Pesci and Lily Mahalik from the LA Times for Build Your Own California, an interactive website that enabled users to divide the Golden State into multiple states. And Ryan Walsh, Hannah Sender, Luri Hidalgo, and Suhail Ahmad from Vocative for a deep web guide to America's taste in music. It was analysis of illegal download data and Twitter activity to take the musical pulse of 100 U.S. cities. And now the winner of the Scripps Howard Award for digital innovation and $10,000 is the Wall Street Journal for Kowloon Walled City. Hours of interactive exploration of the most densely populated development in the world on the 20th anniversary of its demolition.
In the category for public service, the finalists are Robert O'Hara Jr., Stephen Rich, and Michael Sala of the Washington Post for Stop and Seize, examination of a federal program that since 9/11 has enabled police nationwide to take $2.5 billion from U.S. motorists without warrants or criminal charges. And Carol D. Lenig, also of the Washington Post, for Secret Service, which exposed dangerous security lapses and management failures the agency tried to conceal. The winner of the Roy W. Howard Award for Public Service and $10,000 is the New York Times for Fatal Flaws, which exposed widespread inattention to safety defects by automakers, suppliers, and even regulators, and contributed to the recall of 60 million vehicles.
In the category for investigative reporting, co-sponsored with Scripps College of Communication at Ohio University, we recognize as finalists Alex Campbell from BuzzFeed for Battered, Bereaved, and Behind Bars, an investigation of the failing to protect laws that turned battered women into criminals, and C.J. Chivers of the New York Times for Secret Casualties, exposure of a Pentagon cover-up of abandoned chemical weapons that had injured dozens of American and Iraqi troops. And the winner of the Ursula and Gilbert Farfel Prize for Investigative Reporting and $20,000 is the Arizona Republic for Scandal at the VA. The award-winning work uncovered mismanagement at the Department of Veterans Affairs and led to reforms that will improve service to ailing veterans.
And finally, in competitions co-sponsored with the Association for Education in Journalism and Mass Communication, we recognize as finalists in the Teacher of the Year competition, Carolina Acosta Alzuru of Grady College of Journalism and Mass Communication, the University of Georgia, and Kathleen B. Culver of the School of Journalism and Mass Communication, University of Wisconsin-Madison. Receiving $10,000 in the Charles E. Scripps Journalism and Mass Communication Teacher of the Year Award is Carol Schwalbe from the School of Journalism at the University of Arizona.
And now we recognize as finalists in the Administrator of the Year competition, Michael Bujeha from the Greenlee School of Journalism and Communication, Iowa State University, and Eileen Worth from the Journalism Department at Creighton University. So receiving $10,000 and the Charles E. Scripps Journalism and Mass Communication Administrator of the Year Award is Albert R. Timms from the School of Journalism and Mass Communication, University of Minnesota.
Thank you, Lionel and Molly, and congratulations to the winners and the finalists. Cash prizes and trophies will be awarded May 21st at the Grand Hyatt Denver, home of Scripps television station KMGH. I invite you to return to the Scripps Howard Awards website after the awards presentation for features about each of the winning entries and the winners' acceptance speeches. And I encourage you to enter your best work from 2015 in our next competition. The Scripps Howard Awards entry site will be ready to receive your entries November 1st.